Our first tipping point tonight, a CNN producer admits on hidden camera that the Russia stories they air are mostly BS. President Trump is right, he says, that the left is witch hunting him. And today, the latest video shows CNN personality Van Jones calling Russia a big nothing burger. How can Democrats defend their Russia allegations now? It's going to be hard for CNN to suggest Van Jones is just a low-level producer with no ties to Russia stories. The former Obama green jobs czar, frankly, is full of it. On his show on CNN and in his commentary on other shows, Jones hammered Trump for being nice to Russia while the Russia investigation was still ongoing. And then on hidden camera, Jones reveals the truth. The Russia stories are just a big nothing burger, he says, which means Van Jones, like the rest of the liberal progressives who hate Donald Trump, don't care about the truth, don't care about our system of law and justice. They just want to take down the president by any means possible. It's shameful, but watch.
Other presidents tried to say nice things about the Russians and other, warm things in their heart and they love, not in the face of an active attack on the country.
Hey, man.
The Russian thing is just a big nothing burger.
Really?
Joining me now from ReaganBabe.com, Megan Barth. Megan, good to see you.
Great to see you too, Liz.
All right, Megan, this is quite incredible. I mean, yesterday it was a producer from CNN who said that most of the Russia stories they air are BS. There's no real proof here. CNN defended him by saying, oh, it's a producer that has nothing to do with the Russia stories. We celebrate, they said, diversity of opinion. This is Van Jones. This is one of their most recognizable personalities on air here. He says that the Russia stories are big nothing burger. How can Democrats keep pushing this when everyone is either testifying before Congress that there's no evidence, and now even media personalities are saying that they don't believe what they're saying?
I think the better question is, why does Jeffrey Zucker keep pushing this nothing burger and feeding it to the American people? Why is he doing it? Simply because of ratings. We know because John Podesta's password was password, that he was courting the press, and many of them, up to 60 of them, in order to create a narrative, in order to help get Hillary Clinton elected. Not only are our intelligence agencies compromised, but the press has shown itself to be compromised as a propaganda arm of a political party instead of doing their ethical obligation in seeking, finding, and reporting the truth to the American people. Real news, so we can digest the truth in order to come up with our own opinions and not the biased opinions and created and generated narratives from the DNC platform.
No, listen, this must not be a fun day to work in the mainstream media. I mean, their bias has been exposed. There's no way for them to deny this. They had that little caveat. Like I said, they defended their producer yesterday by saying, oh, he's a medical producer. He does healthcare related stories. He's not involved with Russia, and he's entitled to his own opinion, which is a fair response from, I'm sure, their crisis management team. But I mean, how should they respond to this? Basically, Van Jones was admitting that what he says on television is a lie. It's not truly what he believes. Doesn't that damage their credibility quite severely?
Well, I think it also damages their credibility. Not only have they been running with a nothing burger for their ratings, but they haven't even covered other news. They haven't covered the economy. They really haven't covered the Senate bill for health care. They haven't covered the fact that Loretta Lynch is testifying in front of Congress this week related to her potential obstruction of justice when it comes to interfering in the Hillary criminal investigation, which she referred to as a matter. They haven't sought out or asked questions of Susan Rice as she refuses to testify in front of Congress related to her illegal unmasking and the use of a FISA court, violating the Fourth Amendment constitutional right that we have to due process, whereby she spied in a wide dragnet on many Americans, private citizens, with and around the Trump campaign. So we also have John Podesta that is testifying in a closed session in front of Congress today. Have you seen that in the headlines?
No, absolutely not. In fact, it's frustrating to me sometimes when they do these closed sessions. I get why it's classified information. John Podesta, I'm sure, had access to a lot of it, being Hillary Clinton's right-hand man. But it's frustrating. So let me ask you this. In the wake of these videos, we're not sure if Project Veritas and James O'Keefe has more. He said he's been undercover in the mainstream media for about 7 months now. So he must have quite a bit of material. But we have no evidence of collusion between Trump and Russia. No evidence of collusion between Trump associates and Russia. No evidence of improper financial dealings between Trump or Trump's businesses and Russia. No evidence of obstruction of justice. No evidence that the investigations were attempted to be closed down or shut down by the president here. We have all these chiefs of our intelligence community testify in front of Congress to these ends. Now we have these media videos that say they don't even believe their own narrative. What do you expect to happen next, Megan? Are Democrats going to back off of their Russia allegations?
It'll be interesting because even Chuck Schumer and the leaders of the Democrat Party were telling the American people that Donald Trump was under investigation when he was never under investigation. I think that the Democrats want to keep this narrative alive with their friends and pals in the mainstream media in order to deflect from the various high crimes and misdemeanors of this past administration. And so what else are they going to use except for Russia? Otherwise, the press would have to be reporting on what they have allegedly done, the DNC and the leading Democrats, which deceived the American people, spied on the American people, and lied to the American people in order to sabotage, undermine the stability of this country in the transition of power.
Right. And partially the mainstream media is neglecting their responsibility, because the purpose of the media, of course, the purpose of journalists, especially investigative journalists, is to expose truth. It's to expose corruption. It's to expose abuse by our government officials. And in this case, I think we can see CNN. I mean, I don't call out names too often, but CNN has done this, and they're finally being held accountable for it. I mean, first we saw what happened with Kathy Griffin. Then we saw what happened with Reza Aslan. Then just on Monday, 3 employees that had published that fake news story about Russia and Trump, they were not only forced to retract it, they were then forced to resign because it damaged the credibility of CNN so far. Then this, I mean, it looks as though, and maybe this, I'm not the eternal optimist when it comes to the mainstream media, but it looks as if some accountability is going to have to be levied against them.
Well, and there's also, let's not forget, a lawsuit filed by Sarah Palin against the New York Times for libel, for putting her words, or putting her actions rather, in relation to the Gabby Gifford shooting, when that was completely debunked 6 years ago. They chose to rerun that lying narrative in order to smear an opponent in a political party. We also have a pending legislation coming from the last fake news report by one of Donald Trump's associates, Scaramucci, I believe his name is pronounced. He has also lawyered up. And so until we start hitting Carlos Slim in the pocketbook and Jeffrey Zucker in the pocketbook, I believe they will continue to do the bidding of the DNC, because that's where their allegiances lie. Their allegiances do not lie with the American people, as evident from the Project Veritas videos.
Right, and thank goodness for Project Veritas. Thank goodness for honest investigative reporters who actually want to find the truth and expose the truth. And now we know, this is what I said yesterday, the mainstream media has been feeding us fake news. We knew it, and this is proof. Now we know, and they admitted it in their own words. Megan, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it.